do a new lesson. Before that, some of you asked me to do the last activity. Right, therefore, I am starting from that activity here. Ready for that activity. Follow the steps that I explained last week. Go to the Neopod session. Right. Here, go to Google first, then type Neopod. Right. Then Neopod student login, right? Actually, in your case, types Neopod student login. Then click on the join a lesson. Right. Then type the code. Here, I think you can see the join code in the screen. Or letters in capital WZK86. Right, I'm going to show giving it to through the chat box also. WZK86. Right. Then type the join code in your student login there. Right here, still only one of you joined here. Then what about the others? You trying to join? Right now, 11 of you joined. Those who are joined now, please, we are going to do the activity that we did in last week, the last activity. We are starting from that one. Go to Google, then type Neopod student login. Then click on that. They are asking the login code. Type the login code here. Again, you can see at the top in this blue color bar, or in the chat box, you can see the join code. Capital W Z, capital W, capital Z, capital K, then 86. Now 2 of you are joined. Only 2 of you are joined. Still only 2 of students joined in the Neopod session. Then what about the others? Then 3. Then I will give 1 minute to join. This is the last week activity. Right, here 6 of you are now okay. Therefore, I'm going to start it now. The video will play it in your computer also in played in the my computer. Then you can see it in the screen. There are 4 questions there. While playing the video, in the time of question, they stop the video and ask the question. Then you want to respond the question there. Right,
Okay,
I'm going to
sir.
start it. I'm going to start it now, right?
Sir, we can't hear, sir.
Sorry.
Standardized assessments.
We could hear it, sir. We could hear it after some time. If you can
Okay,
play again.
now it is okay. That I forgot to share the sound. Now it is okay.
The Virginia Department of Education is a national leader in the use of technology to develop and administer standardized assessments.
Right now, give the answers. Only 13% of your, right? 8 of you are here joined. Try to give it the answer. Right here, they are asking the main task of Virginia Department of Education, one of the leading university that provide the education courses. Right here, the main task of that department is develop and administer a standardized assessment. Right. Okay, I'm going to continue.
Virginia's school divisions have been administering online tests to students for over a decade. These online tests contain technology-enhanced items in which the student might graph data or correct the punctuation in a writing sample, as well as multiple choice questions. As
Right, to technology enhanced item that online test contain. Then try to give in the answer. Right, here Vasana Kumar, punctuation is correct actually. There are 3 technologies mentioned that video. Graph and MCQ also correct. These are the 3 technologies that mentioned in the video there: punctuation, graph data, and MCQ. Right. The others also now giving the answers. Okay. Then we'll continue.
As part of the continuing effort to provide students with the best possible testing experience, Virginia is adding computer adaptive testing to the Virginia Standards of Learning Assessment Program. Computer adaptive testing, also known as CAT, provides a more personalized test experience for students. Instead of presenting the same questions to every student, an adaptive test is customized to each. The basic principle of CAT is to provide questions that are neither too difficult nor too easy for the student being tested. Questions that challenge students without overwhelming them may result in increased student focus and engagement with the test, as well as providing greater understanding of a student's achievement. In order to provide the most appropriate questions to students, the CAT follows 2 key steps: question selection and scoring.
What 2 key concept that CAT follow to provide the most appropriate question to students? Right here, giving some answers. Question selection and scoring. Yes, that's the 2 key concept. Question, not only question selection, the scoring also another key concept. Then they're asking the both concept. Yeah. Okay, now you are answering correct. Most of your answers are correct. Right.
The steps repeat each time a question is presented and answered. In the first step, a student is administered a test question. Questions are selected from a collection or pool containing more questions than any single student sees. The second step, scoring, uses the student's response to determine which test question the student should get next.
Right, here the scoring is used to determine the next question to assign for students in the computer-based assessment. Yes, that the statement is true. That's the main thing there in the computer-assisted testing, CAT. Right, the score or the marks they are used to determine the which question to give it next. Therefore, the statement is correct here. Right, in this video, these are the 4 questions. They are the video having some part there. Then I'm showing that part also.
This cycle continues until the required number of questions, as indicated by the test blueprint, has been administered. While all students will be expected to answer the same number of questions to complete a Standards of Learning test, adaptive testing means that the specific questions asked will differ from student to student. The addition of computer adaptive testing to the Standards of Learning assessment program demonstrates the commitment of the Virginia Department of Education to provide the best test-taking experience possible for students. If you have questions regarding computer adaptive testing or any standard...
Right, okay, the video is finished now. That's the activity, that type of activities we can design. That's also computer-based assessment, right? Okay, is it clear now that computer assessment testing?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Right, okay, now we are moving to the today's lesson. Today's actually is the last lesson of your syllabus here. Preparing online lessons, right? We not normally we know what is lesson, and normally in the classroom we are doing lesson. Before that we are planning it, right? We are planning what we are going to do, right? In the normal class there are different types of styles available in the lesson plan. In the online also having some organization for the or planning way to do in the online lessons, right? It's not much difference. All the concepts are same. The thing is the tool you are going to use in the classroom, right? Here I'm going to share in the presentation. Online teaching lesson plan. This is the today's topic here. Right. Then lesson plan, actually before we start in a lesson, it's better to having a lesson plan, right? Once you get the experience, right, more than 5 experience, 5 or 10 experience, then without having any lesson plan you can continue your lesson in the classroom. But initially, right, if you are new to the teaching, then better to have in a lesson plan. Actually, not only in my advice is not only the new one. If you are having some experience, it is better to having some lesson plan before you attend in the class. Then you want to decide what are the things you are going to do with the student, how you are going to start the lesson, how you are going to develop the lesson, what type of assessment you are going to use during the lesson, right? These things you want to plan. Right? Therefore, the lesson plan are very important when you are doing the lesson. Before starting this presentation, actually, I'm going to show in one example for the lesson plan. At the end of this lesson, this topic, then you must be able to design in the planning like this. The lesson plan, actually, we can divide it into several 5 categories. There are mainly 5 categories. All the lesson plan should have a outline, the basic information regarding the lesson and the classroom. That's can underline, categorize under outline, right? That I will explain it more. After the outline, then your lesson plan should have an introduction part. Then you want to prepare the things like that. Then after the introduction, then lesson development. This lesson development may have some stages, sub-stages there, right? Then after that, evaluation and feedback. This evaluation may be classroom evaluation or homework or extended work, right? Then attachment and reflections also you want to need to insert your lesson plan, right? Here you can get some basic idea what are the parts or content of the lesson plan by looking at this example here, right? Then we'll discuss in detail of this content. Before that, we should have some theoretical part also, right? Online teaching lesson plan. Here the first slide explaining about the online lesson, right? Especially the tools. What are the tools you can use to do the online lesson, right? In this table explaining the important tool and the examples also. When you are doing the online lesson, you must have these tools, otherwise your online lesson will be failed. Therefore, make sure before you start in your online lesson, you have this or you have access to kind of tool. Have any problem? Yeah, I think some of students not mute your mic. Please mute your mic. Right. Make sure that this type of tool having with your computer. Right. You must have an internet connection. That I am not consider that part. If you are having that in internet connection, then you must have a video conferencing tool. If you want to do the online lesson, you must have this video conferencing tool, right? Example, there are some example you can find the other column. Zoom is one of the most popular online conferencing tool. There are facilities, they have more facilities, and also user friendly. The Zoom facilities are user friendly. Another example is Google Meet. They are having some separate kind of features there, but the most popular one is Zoom. Right. Then once you have a video conferencing tool, then better to have a LMS also, learning management system. Especially this learning management system, you need to share your document with your students. There should be a way to share your resources with your student, right? If your lesson having more resources like presentation, video clips, assessment links like that, there are more resources with you, then there should be a way to share these resources with your student, right? Mostly the LMS provide that facilities. That's the one facility provided by the learning management system. Therefore, make sure you have a proper learning management system to conduct the online lesson. There are some examples. These are the some popular examples you can get through the internet, freely available, the Google Classroom and MS Team, also another popular type of Google learning management system, right? Then make sure that you have necessary teaching learning aids, or if not having this teaching learning aid, then you want to create the teaching learning aid, then make sure you have these facilities, or you have experience regarding these tools here. That example PowerPoint, right? Then you have some experience to create in the PowerPoint slides. Then some other internet-based tools like Live Worksheet or Genial, that last week we explained. We identified what is Live Worksheet, what is Genial, like that, some internet-based tools. Then make sure you have that knowledge, right? Before starting the online lesson, before planning the online lesson, you must have this knowledge. Then only you can success, right? You can make the relevant teaching learning aids. Therefore, make sure that then assessment, creating assessment. Also, mainly internet provide some tools to make in the assessment sheets, like Google Forms, that we learned that how to use Google Form to create the assessment. Then Kahoot and FlexiQuiz. Also, we learned about the FlexiQuiz. One of the tool you can use to create assessment. At the same time, you can't use all the things, but you able to choose the correct one and the easiest one to create the assessment. Right. That's regarding the tools you want to familiar when you are doing the online lesson. Right. Then look at the screen here. Lesson planning steps. Right. Lesson planning steps. When you are preparing the online lesson planning, then you want to follow these steps. Right. Then look at the steps here. Objective writing. Then introduction, development, evaluation, and feedback extended well. Right. Your lesson plan, you can divide it into these 5 stages. Right. Objective writing, introduction, development, evaluation, and feedback, and extended well. Right. Then think how you are going to do these steps. Right. Then we should want to do these steps. We should want to decide the teaching methodology or teaching method. Right. I think you have good idea about the teaching methods. That part is not our subject, but we should want to know what are the teaching methods in the normal classroom. Then what are the methods you are using? Teaching methods in traditional classroom. Then what else? Give me some names.
Direct method, task-based learning.
Yes, task-based instruction.
PLL,
Yes.
call.
Yes, these are some methods actually. Then demonstration, then lecture method, discussion. These are some common questioning. These are some methods you can use there. Right. But if you are doing the online lesson, these methods also you can use this discussion or lecturing method, demonstration you can use. But the most common method they are using, that worldwide actually very popular, that method called flipped classroom method. Right. You want to you want to follow this flipped classroom method if you want to create best good online lesson plan. Right. Then I'm give some idea about this flipped classroom method also, that if you want to follow these steps, then follow the method, the flipped classroom method here. Right. This method says having 3 separate steps. Right. Then remember, flipped classroom method having 3 steps. The first method is step is before classroom. Then you want to think about what type of activities you want to do before starting the lesson. Right. Before starting the lesson, it may be you can ask you can send some video to visit and come to the classroom. Right. Or you can provide some link, activity link, do the link and come to the classroom. Or you can provide some reading material. Please read that paragraph and come to the class. Right. In that way, you want to think about before classroom. What are the things you want to do before classroom? Right. Then you want to think about what are the things you are going to do during the classroom. Right. Mainly, we should want to concentrate regarding the activities. What type of activities we should want to plan during the classroom. Then after, that should be after classroom. Right. The third category is after classroom. Right. By mistake, it should be due after. Right. That's the third step, after classroom. Right. These are the 3 steps in the flipped classroom method. Right. Then look at this picture also, more about the flipped classroom method. Actually, in this method, we are not trying to not giving the direct instruction. Instead, our role is act as a facilitator. We are ready. We are giving all type of facilities to the student to carry out their teaching learning process. Right. In this case, here again, look at the before classroom, then during the classroom, then after classroom. Here, remember these things also. When we are planning a lesson, remember we should want to follow some theory. That means the last time also I remind that part. That Bloom's taxonomy, I think all of you know, familiar with the Bloom's taxonomy. You want to plan your lesson according to the Bloom's taxonomy, right? It is important when you are doing the online lessons. Also, it is important according to the Bloom's taxonomy. In the first two steps of the Bloom's taxonomy is we are going to improve students' remembering and understanding skill. Right. Then before, according to the flipped classroom, the student before coming to the classroom, that means the first step, right? Before, we are going to improve students' remembering and understanding skills. Right. Our activities, we should want to plan our activities to help to improve the students' remembering and understanding skill. Right. Before coming to the classroom, students, before coming to the classroom, we are asking some activities to do. These activities should help to improve students' remembering and understanding skill. Right. Then during the classroom, we should want to prepare or plan the activities should improve students' analysis and applying skill. That's the, according to the Bloom's taxonomy, that's the second, third, and fourth step. Right. Our activities we should want to plan to develop students' analyzing and applying skill. Right. Then after classroom mean again in the home. Right. That here you can see in this diagram there are two steps out of the class. Only one step in the class. Right. Again, after class mean out of the classroom. That means extended work. You want to plan extended work to improve the student evaluating and creativity skills of the student. Right. That's the after things. Right. Is it clear that flipped classroom?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Theoretical part there. To prepare the lesson plan, please remember that concept. Right. Based on the concept, this concept, you can easily prepare your lesson. Right. Think about what you want to do before classroom, before starting your lesson. Right. You want to plan some activities. Right. These activities should support to improve the student remembering and understanding skills. Right. That, for example, you can send a video, please watch and come. Then once you come to the classroom, then you can ask what are the content there, right? What type of characters in the video, right? Then student answer by remembering. Right. Then during the classroom, you want to plan activities to improve the student applying and analyzing skill. That's the third and fourth step of the Bloom's taxonomy. Finally, after they go home, they want to do some activities that you are assigning activities to the student as extended work. Then this work should support to improve the student evaluating and creativity. Right. Okay, that's about the flipped classroom. Then look at the lesson plan structure. First step is first category is outline. When you are planning the lesson, then you want to provide, you want to give the details of the outline. Outline and outline section, mainly we are giving basic information about the lesson, right? The lesson topic, the duration, then competencies level. These are the basic information about the lesson. On the outline, you want to specify this basic information, the date that I will give the content of that outline there. Until that, remember, under outline, you want to mention basic information about the lesson. Right. Then objectives, the next important part. Actually, the objectives also you can find under outline, but here I am taking it separate because it is important. Right. Before you start the lesson, you want to make the objective. Right. You must write down the objective. When you are write down the objective, then also again I am in separate slide, I will explain how to write down the objectives also. Here simply we can say what students achieve at the end of the lesson, right? That make remember that part. Under objective, what we are write down at the end of the lesson, what are the things students achieve, right? These are the things you want to put under objectives, right? After that, introduction. Then you want to plan how you are going to start your lesson. What are the methods? What are the teaching methods you are using to start the lesson? Right? That what type of activities you are planning to start the lesson. Right? In that way, you want to think how you are going to start. The starting is the most important part in the lesson. The student decide they can learn or not by the introduction, by participating in the introduction age of the step of the lesson. Therefore, introduction should be attractive and also important. Also, in the introduction, we are going to improve again students remembering and understanding. Right? When you are planning activities in the introduction, make sure your activities help to improve the students remembering and understanding skills. Right. After introduction, the development. Here you are giving the concept, right? Lesson concept. How to teach the lesson concept. That here also you want to plan what are the teaching methods you are using to giving concept. Then what type of activities you are doing with the students, right? In that way, you want to think and plan how you are going to develop the your lesson. Here, this development part you can do as a stage also. You can divide it sub stages. Right? Then stage 1, 2, 3 like that. You can do that. Right. After development, evaluation and feedback. Right? They are going to teach you, test your teaching. Then you want to check your lesson, how far the student achieve, student understand. Then you want to give some kind of assessment. Right. Okay, these are the things you want to remember. You want to point out when you are designing the lesson plan structure. Right? Is it clear that the structure, parts of the structure here?
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, then we'll see in detail one by one here. Right. First, lesson outline. These are the parts you want to insert in the lesson outline. The lesson outline should be at the top of the lesson structure. Right? Make sure the date, then grade, which level you are going to teach your lesson, then number of students, and time. Here the time meaning duration, 30 minutes or 25 minutes normally. They are good. Right. Then unit or theme, the lesson unit 5, unit 6 like that. According to the textbook, you can decide which unit you are going to teach. Right. Then competency. The competency give the idea about the overall achievement of the student. What student going to be achieve overall. Right. In the competency level, which part of the lesson going to be understood by the student. Right? For example, suppose you are going to teach animals, right? Then competency mean in this lesson, student going to be understand all kind of animals, all kind of animals. At the end of the lesson, student understand all kind of animals. But in this lesson, in this period, the student only identify home animal and zoo animals. They are not going to understand wild animals. Right? Then that way you want to write down the competencies level also. Right? The Zoom session will be end now. Then you can join it again, the same link, right? Until that time continue. Then that's the difference between the competency and competency level. When you are write down the lesson plan, 3 or 4 lesson plan, then you will understand what is clearly this competency.
Recording in progress.
Right. Okay. Again, back to the presentation. Right here we are discussing about the competency and competency lesson, competency level. Right. Here give the idea about what students should be achieved at the end of the lesson. Right? Competency regarding the one overall lesson. Competency level is the particular period what students going to be earned. Right? That's the competency level. Then lesson, here should insert the name of the lesson. Then learning outcome, that separately I will get that part. Learning outcome, objectives. The objectives you can write down in the under lesson outline. Remember that one. But it is important, therefore I am discuss it separately. Then lesson material, that what are the resource you are going to use during the lesson. Right? Under lesson material, you want to mention here what are the lesson resources. Right? It may be textbook. Right? When you are in the normal classroom, then you can write down the textbook, whiteboard, in that type of things. But in the online lesson, then what are the lesson material? The textbook also you can consider that here also. In addition to that, you want to mention all the other digital resource you are using during the online lesson period. Right. Lesson material, you want to mention here lesson material. Then lesson delivery platform. That's also important. You want to mention which platform you are using to conduct the online lesson. Right. Example. Here that I show the example here. Date. Right. Then you want to mention the date here. Right. 28 December 2022. Example. Right. Then grade. It may be primary grade 4B. Right. Then student, number of student 25. Then 30 minutes. Right. Then unit. Here the unit is animal. Right. Then you can get that information from your textbooks, unit or theme. Then competency. Students should be able to identify all kind of animal. Right? The basic features, right? Not in deep. It may according to your textbooks, right? It giving the detail how far, giving the more detail that you can find it through your textbooks. Students should be able to identify all kind of animal at the end of this session, animal. Right? But in 30-minute period, you are not going to give in all the things. Right? In the 30-minute period, only you are going to give in home animals and zoo animals. That's the competency level. Right? In here, you want to mention students should be able to identify home and zoo animal. These are the achievement things achieved by the student in that period. Right. Then lesson animal name. Animal name. Here you are going to introduce home animal and zoo animals names. They are names and there are differences also. Right. Then lesson objective. Then lesson material. Then look at the lesson material here. Textbook, your laptop or tab or the smart device. Then Genial, PowerPoint, Kahoot or Padlet. Right? Here, all of these, you are not using all the things, right? Suppose for the assessment, you are using Kahoot, then under lesson material, here you want to indicate Kahoot. Suppose for the introduction, to make a discussion, you are using a Padlet. Then under lesson material, you want to mention Padlet. Right? If you are using PowerPoint presentation, then here mention it PowerPoint. Right? Here you want to mention all the resources you are using during your lesson. Right? Then lesson delivery platform, the Zoom. Right? If you are using another platform, for example, MS Team or Google Meet, then mention that platform here. Right? Then is it clear that part? Is it clear that part? Lesson outline. Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. Then what the next one? And after you planning, after you designing the lesson outline, then you want right before that I want to do here the learning outcome objective. Right. Then look at how write down the objective. Right. Before that I want to do one activity. Right. At the moment I am skip that activity. That later I will do it. Right. Because of the time problem. After doing the objectives, then according to the time remaining, I will do that, right? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Objective writing, right? When you are doing when you are write down the objective, that I think already you know, some of you know how to write down the objective. Then you want to think about the domains. There are 3 domains, right? Cognitive and affective and the psychomotor, like that. There are 3 domains. Then you want to think about the objective from these 3 domains. The cognitive, that always the cognitive domain concentrate the knowledge, right? Knowledge and the development of intellectual skills, right? Then which knowledge, the type of knowledge you are trying to give in from this lesson, right? Then you want to mention, you want to identify the objective from that part. That, for example, right? Look at some examples in the same lesson. Right, I will give some show some examples. Before that, then look at the next part. Affective domain. Always you are trying to develop students' attitude or feelings. Then you want to identify or you want to write down the objective in that field. How you are going to improve the students' attitudes, feelings, emotions, like that. Right? According to the lesson, you want to write down the objectives there. Right here, having some examples for the attitude, that when you are doing the online lesson, the student, according to the student, that you want to train student, do not disturb while teaching. Right? I think you have some experience there. When you are doing some online lessons, there are some students, they are trying to draw in something drawing on the screen. Right? That's not good. Therefore, students should understand the drawing on the screen while learning is not a good thing. Right? In that way, you want to identify some objectives and write down the under effective. Then students should understand that the chatting is not good while learning. Right? It's very difficult to maintain that one when you are, because not you are in face to face. While you are teaching, some of the students may mute their Zoom session and they chat with others. Then you want to control it. Then you want to give the idea to the students. That's not a good behavior. Right? That's the affective. You are going to develop the affective domain of the students. Right. Then psychomotor is another skill you are going to develop. According to the lesson, you want to think about the psychomotor part also. It's a physical movement. Right? When you are doing the lesson with your student, then you want to develop the students' physical movements also. In the traditional classroom, in the normal classroom, you can easily do that. That is standing up, sitting down, also another kind of physical movements. You can do that practice in the normal classroom. But in the online classroom, this type of thing is doing is very difficult. Right? You can't ask standing up or sitting down, the things like that. Right? But you want to think about normally they are using keyboard. They're using keyboard also, some kind of physical things, right? Your fingers, you want to move in some styles. In that way, think how you are going to develop the physical movement of the student based on your lesson, right? That's the way, that's the objective types. Here having some example that related with that the example previous lesson, animal. Under cognitive part, then you can say at the end of the lesson, students should be able to name home animals. That's one of the objective, right? That's the knowledge. Student get the knowledge from your lesson, right? According to the competency level that we already mentioned, at the end of the lesson, student understand about the home animals. Right? Then at the under cognitive, the knowledge is at the end of the lesson, students should be able to give in the name of the home animals. At the end of the lesson, students should be able to name zoo animals. Right? Zoo animals. Also, another objective may be at the end of the lesson, students should be able to state the difference between home and zoo animals. Right? These are the knowledge. Right? They are going to develop the knowledge of the students. Right here, one example for affective domain. At the end of the lesson, student will understand that animal must be protected. Right? That's the good behavior. Right? Under affective, you can understand, you can identify that type of objectives also. Right? Is it clear that objective writing?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Right. Okay. Okay. Then after you write down the objective, that's the end of the outline part. This objectives also you want to write down under outline. Then you want to think about how you can start, how to start the lesson. Right? When you are starting the lesson, that means introduction or engagement. There are different names. There are different lesson plan. They are using different names. However, all of this things we can categorize under introduction. When you are introduced, when you are start the lesson, here given some factors to consider, right? Then select the teaching method. Think about what is the teaching method you are going to use. Right? That's important. Demonstration, discussion, or questioning. That's some of the example. There are more teaching methods available to use. Right? Demonstration, the normally demonstration means if you are showing something and based on that content, you are going to start the lesson. The discussion, right? You can give a topic. According to the topic, you can start the discussion. Then you can ask some names of the animals. Then please write down the names of animal you know, right? Discussion, then questioning, right? Then consider the teaching method you are going to use in the introduction. Then think about the presentation. What kind of presentation you are going to use? It may be an offline presentation or online presentation. Right? Normally using PowerPoint, you are normally creating offline presentation. Right? Then that means students are not able to responding. But if you are using the presentation tools like Google Slide, then you can make interactive presentation. Then also you can ask from the student to write down something during the class hour. Right. Then think about the presentation, which kind of tool you are going to use, PowerPoint or Google Slide. Right. Then discussion with student through Padlet. That I introduce what is Padlet, and I also teach you how to use the Padlet. Right? In your online lesson, you can use Padlet, especially for the discussion, to start the discussion. Right? Then think about the other type of resources you are going to use during the introduction part. Right? It may be interactive images, right, or video clip. Then YouTube video or television you can use for showing something to the classroom. Then before classroom activities. Then also you can start your lesson based on before classroom activities that earlier mentioned. Think about that I asked you to consider the flipped classroom method also. Right there, the first step is before classroom. What are the activities you are going to plan? You are going to do before coming to the classroom. Right. Based on these activities, you can start the lesson. Right. These are the main factors you want to consider when introduction part. Right. Then look at the example here in the same lesson. I am continue. When you are planning the lesson, then you want to mention the step introduction. Right. In this lesson, start a discussion using Google Padlet with student through the following question. Right. This type of statement need to mention in the lesson plan. Right. Then you want to mention that particular question also. Have you visited a zoo? Then so who were the animals there? Right. That make remember that particular the type of question you are expecting to asking, engage with the student. Then you want to mention in the plan. Right. Without giving this type of planning, without giving this type of question, please don't start the lesson with your students. Right. When if your lesson plan, you must have all the question you are expecting to ask from the student. Right. This type of statement must need in your lesson plan also. Start discussion using the Google Padlet with a student through the following question. Then student will answer. Then also you want to think about the answers, which type of answers a student giving to you, right? The expecting answers. The student will answer as elephant, lion, tiger, and so on. In the lesson plan, you should want to mention that part also, the student activity. Right here, the first start with the teacher activity. Here the teacher activity is a start a discussion using a Google Padlet. What students are doing is giving the answer. Student will answer by giving some name of this in the zoo. Right. Then also you want to mention the link of the Padlet will be shared through the Zoom chat box. The way of your sharing your links. That's also important. You want to mention in the lesson plan how you are going to share the Zoom, share the link, activity link. Right. Okay. Is it clear? The introduction is any doubts or any question you can ask me.
It's clear, sir.
Okay.
It's clear, sir.
Right. Okay. This is the way how start the introduction part. Right. Right. After you decide the introduction, then we can move to the next part, lesson development. Right. Lesson development. Here, having some important factors to consider in the lesson development part. In the lesson development, you can there are different ways that mainly the most of the teachers using the stages, right? May contain actually 3 to 5 steps. Here it is mentioned as 3 to 5, but it is don't worry about this number of stages. Only 2. At least you need 2 stages, right? 2 to 5. Actually, 2 to 5 stages you can use in the development stage, right? In the development stage, actually, you want to prepare the activities to develop students' apply and analysis skill, right? All of the activities you are using during the development stage should help to improve the student apply and analysis skill. Actually, in the introduction stage, can remember what kind of skills you are going to develop. Not mentioned in this in the previous slide did, but you can think, and that earlier also I mentioned it. In the development stage, you are expecting to develop apply and analysis skills of the student. But in the introduction stage, then which kind of skills you are going to develop?
We are going to be introducing the topic by giving them
Yeah, you are going to
live
introduce.
discussions.
You are going to introduce the topic, and also you are doing some activities with the student. Right? You are asking some question from the student. Then what kind of skills you are going to develop?
Cognitive skills.
Cognitive. This is an object. When you are doing the write down the objective, then you want to think about the knowledge, that cognitive part. The skill, which skill that here in the under lesson development, you are developing applying and how to apply their knowledge and how to analyze it. But in the introduction age, you are testing students remembering and understanding skill. Remembering and understanding skills. Right? That look at the earlier slide here, example. Right? Here they are asking this question in the discussion: have you visited a zoo? So, who are the animals there? Right? That maybe some students may already visited the zoo. Then, what is the skill that you are going to test in? Remembering. Right? They are
Remembering
saying,
and understanding.
yeah, remembering and understanding. They are saying elephant, lion, tiger, like that. Right? The animals they are visited, they are mentioned here. Remembering. The other skill is understanding. That's in the introduction. Then in the lesson development part, make sure activities should help to improve the student applied and analysis skill. Right. That's the first thing you want to consider. Then use the teaching methods such as demonstration, lecturing, and group methods in the lesson development. You can use this type of lecturing method, demonstration, lecturing, or group methods also. Then how you are going to do the group methods, group activities with students, right? I think you are familiar with Zoom sessions. Zoom giving some facilities called breakout rooms. Using this breakout room, you can easily do group work with students. Right. Then you want to consider the develop the lesson, right? The develop the lesson in stages. That earlier mentioned that part. Then use of PowerPoint Genial live worksheet to create teaching aids. In the lesson development, especially you want to create the teaching aids. The teaching aids, that's the things used by the student to learn visuals. Right? Normally, PowerPoint or Genial or a live worksheet provide facilities to create teaching aids. Then you want to get the knowledge of Genial and PowerPoint, Genial and live worksheet. Right? Then using this tool, you can create teaching aids. Right. Then also need to make a summary at the end of the development stage. Better to make a summary what the things student learn. Right. These are the things you want to think in the lesson development. Then look at the example here. The same lesson, animal. In this case, have two stages, stage 1 and stage 2. Then look at stage 1. Describe animals using the following PowerPoint presentation and make a discussion through the following question. Right. Then in your online lesson, you are going to start the lesson by showing, you are going to develop the lesson by showing a PowerPoint presentation. Right. Then you are asking some question. Then you want to mention this question in your lesson plan. What are the questions you are going to ask during the development stage? Who are the animals living in jungle? Who are the animals living in zoo? Who are the animals living in the home garden? Right. In that way, then according to your lesson, you can plan the questions. Right. To discuss the questions, then again you can use a Padlet, another Padlet. Right. Then you want to insert the copy of presentation also here. Right. When you are write down the lesson plan, please remember that include a copy of the presentation or link of the presentation here. Right. That's the step 1. by at the end of the step 1, student understand the jungle animals, then zoo animals, like that. Some kind of knowledge achieved by the students, right, at the end of the stage 1. It's still not end of the development. Then stage 2, another activity there, stage 2. The following live worksheet activity will be done with the student. Then you want to mention that statement here. What is the things you are going to do in the stage 2? The following live worksheet activity will be done with the student. All students should be done the activity with teacher, right? Then that's the special. Then you are asking your student to do the activity with me. Right? That type of instruction you want to make with your student, right? Then now I am going to do another activity. Please do this activity with me. I am explaining how to do it. Then please do it with me. In that type of instructions you want to give your students, right? Here that I am going to show that link also, then you can get some idea, right? That's regarding the animal. It's a live worksheet activity, right? This is the activity. Here around the box here, giving some names. Then you can ask your student to search the names and click on it, right? Then for example, then mouse. The same time, student doing the exercise activity, the same time the teacher also want to do that one, right? Then mouse, then search the word mouse here, right? Can't see the place where that mouse is available. Then in your case you can prepare much easier than one. This is somewhat complex. Therefore, before showing it, then you want to mark it. That one you want to identify places where that names are available, right? Before showing, then you want to prepare this one, right? That I'm not.
So on the top, rabbit is available.
On the top, rabbit
It's
there,
in the
no, right?
fourth floor, sir.
Yeah, okay, that's
in the
not a
fourth
problem.
floor.
Only to understand this one, it's not a problem, right? Or however, the rabbit is there. Then teacher want to click it. The same time, ask students to click rabbit, right? Then tell me how you are going to share the link. Right? This link you can share through your Zoom chat box. Right? You are using the Zoom. If you are using the Zoom, then Zoom chat box you can use to share the link. Right. Then same time, while the teacher doing the activity, the same time the student also can do. Right? Is it clear? This is not assessment, right? This is not assessment. This is the activity. This is the activity you are doing with your student. Right.
So that is a due classroom activity.
Yes, classroom activity in the stage 2.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Then in the lesson plan, then you want to give the link and also PowerPoint, the copy of the PowerPoint presentation, that all the relevant materials you want to attach with your lesson plan. At the end of the lesson plan, there's a separate section attachment. Under attachment, you can attach your additional materials. Right? If you are having link, then this link you can put in the same in the steps, right? In the step. Otherwise, if you are having some other materials, then you can attach as an attachment. Right. I think it is okay in the development. In the development stage, actually, at the end, you want to make a summary also. Right here, not mention it as a stage 3. You can make mention it. Stage 3, make a summary. Right. Then after that, evaluation and feedback. Evaluation and feedback. Here the place where you are going to test what you are teaching. Right? You want to check the students achieve the things, the level of achievement of the students. Right. Then in that case, they consider these factors here. under evaluation, you are going to test the student progress during the lesson. Right? All of the assessment or evaluation activities you are doing in this stage are formative assessment. Right? You are going to check the student progress. Here, mainly, you are going to check students evaluating and creativity skills. Right? That remember that point is very important. At the introduction, you are improve students remembering and understanding skill. In the development, you are improving students applying and analysis skill. In the assessment, that's the last part of the assessment. At the end of the lesson, last part of the lesson. Here, in this case, you are support to improve student evaluating and creativity skill. Therefore, when you are planning an assessment, this assessment question should support to improve the students' evaluating and creativity skills. Right. The evaluating means making judgment. Right. Evaluating means ability to make judgment. Normally, the debate that means pros and cons of technology in education, advantage and disadvantage of education. The teacher can ask to make a debate for the students. Right. That type of activities you want to assign in the assessment step, evaluation and feedback step. Right. In the creativity also, under creativity mean you are supposed to make some new ideas from the student, right? New things or new ideas based on your lesson. You are asking to make some new ideas, right? For example, you can draw a picture that you can give in some words. Then by using these words, make some new sentences. Right? That's the creativity. Or you can give some words and ask to make a story. Right? Story containing 10 sentences. That's a type of creativity. That type of activities you want to assign in the evaluation and feedback stage. Right. Then evaluation has two steps. Actually, one is in the classroom. The other one is out of the classroom. Extended work. As extended work, you want to assign an activity to the student. Especially, this activity should be able to improve the student creativity as or as the evaluating also. Is it clear that part? Then can identify which type of activities you want to assign in the evaluation?
Yes, sir.
Evaluation and assessment, right? You want to plan or you want to create
Develop
the assessment.
activities that can develop the evaluating and creativity skills of students.
Yes, evaluating and the creativity of the student. Right. Okay. That's the last part of the assessment. Then look at this example also. This is for the assessment evaluation. The first one for the classroom assessment. Rearrange the word correctly. Use the live worksheet link to complete the activity. Right. Then you want to design the assessment again using the internet-based tool. Right. Then live worksheet is one of the good internet-based tool to create this type of activities, right? That I'm going to show it also here. This live worksheet activity you can do during the class at the end of the lesson. Also, as a homework, then look at the homework or extended work here. Create a dialogue between the dog and the cat about the food provided at home. Right? That's something new here. The student want to think and write down. Right? That type of activities you want to assign as an extended work, because we are going to improve students' creativity. Right? Creative skills of the student. Right? In the extended work. Right. Then during the class, at the end of the lesson, you can create this type of activities. Then I'm going to show it here. Rearranging the words, right? Then you can characters, rearranging the letters here, right? Here giving the elephant, but different arrangement here in the letters. Then you want to arrange it correctly, right? Then provide the space. In the space, students are able to type it, right? In that way, that type of activities is okay for the assessment, right? Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir, it's clear, sir.
Right, okay. That's the example for assessment. Actually, that's the end of the lesson plan. Here I'm showing it again, I am showing it at the beginning of the session. Then you want to plan, you want to design the lesson plan in this way, right? That the top, please put the topic here according to the number, the lesson plan. If you are doing the very first one, then it should be lesson plan 1, 2, 3, like that. Give the number, right? Then no need to put this title here, right? For the explanation purpose, I am using this one. If you are write down the actual lesson plan, then no need to put this title here. Outline. In the outline should contain the date, grade, number of students, like that. This information, right? Then introduction part, right? Again, not must, but for the clear, it is okay to put this topic here, introduction here. No need to put this lines, right? Introduction, but you must put this statement, right? What you are going to do with your students, what teacher doing and what student doing. The separately it should be identified, right? In the student, teacher going to be start a discussion with student. How the teacher going to be start the discussion using the Google Padlet. This is the technology part, Google Padlet. Again, student going to be giving the answers, right? That Padlet, the link should be insert here, right? You must put the link here, right? Then lesson development, stage 1. Then you want to describe what are the things you are going to do in the stage 1, stage 2. Then necessary technology link you want to input here. Then what are the technologies you are going to use, like PowerPoint, live worksheet. These names you want to import in this, insert the separate stages. Right. Then stage 1, stage 2. Then stage 3 you can develop as separate as a summary. Right, here mention how you are going to give in the summary also. The way of you are doing the summary. Again, it may be a PowerPoint slide, or it is maybe a story, like that. There are different techniques you are using to make the summary. Then classroom assessment and evaluation and feedback. It is 2 parts, classroom assessment and extended work. Then you want to mention this one. Also at the end you want to mention the attachments, and reflections also need, but in your case I'm not expecting much more about the reflection. Actually the reflection you are doing after the lesson, right? What actually you feeling when you are doing the lesson, it is success or not. If success, then what are the reason for success? If not, what are the reason for not success? Right, like that you want to write down the reflection also. Right, okay, that part, that for the now I am not expecting this part, only the attachment. Up to attachment you need to decide. Right, okay, now our time is so okay. Then try to write down some lesson plan and send it me through the WhatsApp group. Then I can discuss with you some of the selecting items, lesson plan. Then I can discuss with you next week.